Hey there, Leo. Welcome to your reading for the week of December 1st. You have this koi fish card. It says you're manifesting more love, prosperity, and wealth into your life. You have this tricky situation card. It says a sly, subtle approach is necessary in order to safely navigate a situation. So, I think this is about being tactical for you, Leo. I do feel that pretty much everyone on Earth needs to be more tactical at this time. We have, Uranus is retrograde in Taurus right now, but it was in Gemini. And next year it moves back into Gemini, but it's already been there, is all I care about. So I think Uranus, part of Uranus and Gemini is that we have to be very tactical in how we approach things that we're trying to accomplish. That could include, not sharing your ideas with people, kind of keeping them to yourself, until you get them to a certain point, obviously, then people can, obviously if you already got started on something, it's fine to tell people about it after you get started. But I kind of feel like that's the important part. And the other thing is that you have the Three of Pentacles here. So, there are plenty of projects I've worked on, for example, where I don't tell people in my life about it, but obviously I hire people, so obviously I have to tell them. People always tell me I'm contradicting myself when I say don't tell people things, and then I say to work together with other people. It's like life isn't black or white, people. It doesn't have to be one or the other. Don't tell people that are going to hate on your ideas, but obviously if you're hiring a person, then they have to know what you're doing so that they can do the work. And so there's a big difference. But, for the most part, Leo, I would keep things to yourself unless you're hiring a person or something like that. Or again, I think that the other thing that I like to focus on is, people come from two places, love or fear, right? Fear is, I don't know if you should do that. That seems dangerous, blah, 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 right? Obviously, people who support all your ideas, if they're gassing you up and all that other stuff, then yeah, of course, tell those people. I always say there have been a number of studies on this. It is not true that you shouldn't share your goals. You shouldn't share your goals with shitty people, is what the truth is, right? But it's been proven that if you share your goals with the people who push you, you're actually more likely to accomplish them. So as long as you're paying attention, you'll be perfectly fine. You have the Knight of Pentacles, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Four of Cups in your first row. Knight of Pentacles is progress. You end this top row with the Chariot, which is great. I love readings that go from the Knight of Pentacles to the Chariot because it kind of says that it's, it seems to me like maybe not just this week, but maybe the entire month, you're going to be getting more and more motivated. Knight of Pentacles starts a little slow, but then when we have the Chariot, he's taking off. He is blasting off into the sunset. So I feel for a lot of you that, things might kind of, it seems like you're making progress. I think this is good. But, maybe a little slow progress. And as we move forward, you're going to get faster and faster and faster. And I think that is great energy for you, Leo, and definitely something I would be focused on with this card. You have the Wheel of Fortune. Definitely could be some sort of change of fortunes. I feel like some people are getting a gift at the end of the year here. It definitely doesn't seem like everybody as far as the signs are concerned. But Leo, I would say that you're maybe one of the signs that's getting a little bit of a gift. I feel like the gift is forward movement again. So maybe if you've been stuck for a very long period of time, it's like your destiny is finally moving forward with the Wheel of Fortune. Or maybe you feel like you're making a little bit of progress that has taken you a long time to make that progress in the first place. So it's like you're moving forward here with the Wheel of Fortune. I also have a random message popping into my head. I'll tell you this right now. If you're planning a move, moving somewhere in the near future, I would say over the next year or so, you have the World in the area of messages from your future self. You have the Chariot at the end, so it kind of would say maybe in the future. But I literally feel that there are some changes that you are not really expecting. So, again, it seems to me if you're wondering, sometimes people ask me is a move a good idea? And I would say if you're asking that question, then the answer is definitely yes. It seems to me there could be some additional benefits for those of you that want to move. And if you already have moved, again, maybe over the past few months, then there could also still be some benefits coming in the future. You have the Four Cups. Four Cups can be past disappointments. Again, we're at the end of this retrograde. I'm recording this video on the 27th of November. Mercury goes direct on the 29th. And so, pretty much for like the first 2 weeks of December, we're still in the shadow period. This Mercury retrograde ending in Scorpio, there's something about it that I feel could be bringing back past ideas or things that you've already worked on. And it's like you're being asked to try again. The Four Cups, he's tried something at least 3 times before, and now he's getting this new cup, but he's not accepting it because he's failed like 3 times before. The whole point of the card is that he needs to realize that if he applies what he learned from these 3 cups to this 1 cup, he will have a much better outcome. So, the card itself says you have to apply what you learned in the past and try something again. But I do feel that, I do feel this is asking you to like try something again, especially if there's an idea that is returning. It looks like something to me that could make you money, so there you go. With the Knight of Pentacles, you have the Four Wands. Four Wands is, it is a marriage card, but this year seems to be a finish line year, which is good. I feel like a lot of people are kind of like crossing finish lines at the end of this year, maybe a little bit into next year as well. I kind of feel like once Saturn moves back into Aries at the end of February, that's really when people might cross some sort of finish line. So maybe it'll be a few months or whatever, but, like I said, I haven't, pretty much everyone has had the Four Wands at the end of the year here. So the Four Wands, there's a finish line right here. You have to cross that finish line to celebrate with these people on the other side. So I feel a lot of you are like wrapping things up. With the Wheel of Fortune, you have the King of Swords. It's like, I don't want to tell you to like forget everything that you know, but I do want to tell you to forget everything you know. It's almost like this part of the reading is saying, he is history. He kind of like judges things based off of all the experiences that he's had. He's a card of knowledge and wisdom. He's learned a lot. He's also taken what he's learned. He's put it into practice. He's gained a lot of knowledge and wisdom. But I kind of get this feeling that, this is saying, don't get rid of your wisdom, obviously. But at the same time, maybe if you're entering into something new at this time, like a new project or an idea, being a little bit more open-minded, I feel, would be very beneficial for you. Again, this is not a criticism or anything like that, Leo. I just feel like it's saying you do have a lot of knowledge, which can sometimes, I think, kind of stop us from being successful because we know too much. And so I do feel it's saying, anything new you're starting, you have to treat it as new. With the Four of Cups, you have the Seven of Cups, which you have twice, going this way here. Seven of Cups can be about being spoiled for choice, having a lot of options. I do feel it's saying if you're trying something again, that you do have a lot more options than you did in the past. So I would definitely try again. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, you have this Work Through Your Fears card in this Believe in the Impossible card. This Work Through Your Fears card is, what does it say? New Moon in Scorpio. So this, with the Mercury retrograde ending in Scorpio and then going direct in Scorpio, it could be a really good time to look at things like fears that have prevented you from making progress in the past and to work through those things. All your readings, Leo, for years, literally, have been saying you need to kind of believe in the impossible. So whatever you want to accomplish, I would like multiply it by 100 or 1,000 and see what happens. It's like maybe you don't get like 100 times better than what you wanted, but if you get 10 times better even, that's better than what you originally wanted, right? So I'm a big believer in, I think it's Les Brown who says it's better to aim high and miss than it is to aim low and hit, right? So I would be aiming high with your goals at this time. You have the Three of Pentacles, the Seven of Cups, and the Six of Pentacles. Three of Pentacles is about putting your work on display. Yes, definitely time for you to show off, Leo. I say it to you all the time. Pluto in your opposite sign, time to show your work, right? The more you show off your work, the better, as far as I'm concerned. But again, this needs to be maybe completed work. I wouldn't, like if you have an idea, those are the things I would keep to yourself. And again, unless you're like hiring people or whatever, obviously you have to tell them what you're doing. But for the most part, when you have something finished or at a certain, to a certain point, then I would start talking about it. I feel Pluto in Aquarius, it's going to be in Aquarius till 2043 or whatever that year is. I'm pretty sure it's 2043. And, anything you can do to promote your work and put it out there and talk about it and brag about it, it's just going to lead to a lot more positive attention, especially for those of you in business or if you work in social media or something like that. It's definitely your time to shine, Leo. You have the Seven of Cups again. Again, I think with the King of Swords saying, forget everything you know, which, again, that's not true, but I'm just saying that's like the best way I can describe the energy. It's like if you're not too locked in to one way of doing things, I think the Seven of Cups will be good because it's going to give you a lot of options. It's like saying, there are many ways that you can accomplish your goals at this time. And so being open to all those ways of accomplishing things is going to be very important. The other thing is as usual, Leo, like I'm going to start saying that the Ace of Pentacles is your card because you get it every single reading now. The Ace of Pentacles is unlimited potential. Ace of Pentacles is a card of an opportunity that has potential, but it is a garden. You can make a garden as big or as small as you want, basically, and you can produce, by taking care of it, a garden, you can make it produce really good stuff, really good vegetables, or really bad ones if you don't take care of it, right? So the better you treat this opportunity, the better things are going to go. You have the Six of Pentacles, again, planting seeds, right? Planting seeds in something that you're going to nurture. Again, I'm wondering, part of me feels like this is a major theme for you, Leo, the whole nurturing thing, which comes up for you a lot. Leos are very nurturing, but I think that having something that you really put your heart and soul into is going to be the best thing for you. Not just this week, not just this month, but for like years to come. So I would find something that you like legitimately want to put your heart into is like the feeling I get here. It could be a project. It could be yourself, right? I think that's the best thing that we could all do is just focus on ourselves and, pour energy into ourselves because then everything comes out of that. So, whatever it is, I would be nurturing. With the Three of Pentacles, you have the Four of Cups again. So again, trying something again. It's like sometimes I think people who have tried to do things in the past, it's like you end up feeling like a fool because if you tell people what you're doing and then it doesn't work, then you feel like a fool. Trust me, I've been there. That's my whole entire life. So I pretty much, I get it, Leo. But eventually you stop caring, and that's where your true power will come from. So I would definitely try again. This is definitely a second chance reading. It's not really a second chance. I think you're just taking another chance at something. You're trying a project. It could be yourself that you're working on, like I said, but you're like working on something again. This came up for you for like the past 2 months. With the Seven of Cups, you have the Five of Wands. Yeah, I think you need to ignore competition. It's like, yeah, there is competition, but I feel you need to believe in yourself enough to rise above the competition. We are definitely in a time where we have to rise above the competition because we're in a time of co-creation. And that doesn't mean competition is going anywhere. But, the best thing we can all do is learn from the competition and, figure out what they're not doing. And then if we do that, we'll stand out. This reading ends with the Chariot. The Chariot is all about making yourself unique, making yourself stand out. Three of Pentacles, same thing. With the Six of Pentacles, you have the Page of Cups. Could be a little bit of love here. I would say if you want love, it's probably pretty slow if you don't already have it. You have the Four of Wands and Knight of Pentacles. Knight of Pentacles is a snail, basically. So some of you might be attracting a snail person. I think I said this to you like a couple weeks ago, and because you probably had the Knight of Pentacles with me. So it could be a snail person. You could be a snail too. This could be like two snails coming together. How cute is that? But what I would say is, I don't know, maybe you're attracting a snail person. Maybe you're a snail too, whatever. But it just feels a little slow to me. Is that bad? No. If anything, it could be a good thing that you're taking your time. And both people, and that you're not like rushing into something. But definitely could be a new connection. Next, in the area of messages from your future self, you have this Death card. It says, letting go, transformation, and rebirth. Yes. You have this questions card. It says surroundings, guides, and circumstances. So you probably have a lot of questions at this time. Again, if you're entering, like I almost feel like this card is encouraging you to be curious, this question card. The King of Swords is saying you have a lot of knowledge and wisdom already. like I said, but it's almost like you need to be asking new questions. Again, with Mercury retrograde in Scorpio, although, by the time you're watching this, it might be direct because it goes direct on the 29th, but it's still in Scorpio. So you definitely could be going through some sort of transformation. You have the Page of Wands, the Ace of Pentacles, in the World. The Page of Wands is about going on adventures. I think the more excited you can be, the better. Again, really, I think this boils down to Leo putting themselves first. I think for too many years, Leo has been putting other people before you, and you might have very legitimate obligations in life, like if you have children, for example, then obviously you're probably putting your children first. But, again, I think it's time for you to put yourself first and for you to figure out what you enjoy. Sometimes I think when we spend too much time taking care of other people, we forget what we like, right? And I don't know, I kind of just feel the Page of Wands is encouraging you to figure it out, what you like to do and what you want to do, instead of sacrificing yourself for other people. And it's time to do that. And again, I get that, if you have children, maybe you can't do that completely, but even if you can just do it for 5-10 minutes every single day, that adds up over time and you can create a more fulfilling life. And I feel like the Page of Wands, it's almost like you're getting your fire back with the Page of Wands, is kind of what I feel. It's like you're getting that sparkle back in your eyes here, Leo, which maybe has been missing for a little bit of time. So I feel pretty good about the Page of Wands. You have the Ace of Pentacles, always. Again, I don't know, I feel like you've had this card every single reading with me for months, maybe longer, for a very long time. Because I'm always saying to you, Leo, that the Ace of Pentacles is only an opportunity that only has potential, which means what you put into it is what you're going to get out of it. And like that Believe in the Impossible card says, I would be multiplying it by 1,000 or 1,000,000,000, right? Because, even if you miss, even if you don't hit that 1,000,000,000x goal, maybe you hit 1,000,000 times or 1,000 or 10 times even would be better than what you originally wanted. It's like the reading is saying it's time for you to do something to exceed your expectations, but, you're going to have to put the work in to do that. But I would, with this card, definitely could be a very solid opportunity. So I would take it. Also, Leo, I forgot to say, make sure to leave a comment. Really helps me out. You have the World. The World can be an achievement coming in for you, so I do feel that some of you could be finding or having a new achievement with the World card or reaching new heights with this card. Wouldn't surprise me, again, if you have the question, should I move? Again, I do feel like the answer is yes. I always say, I think sometimes we think we're going to move and it's going to feel different, and it doesn't, right? But if you're thinking about moving, I feel you will feel different. There's something different about it. Or, it's like maybe it's just a better environment that you're going to be moving into. And yeah, it just feels really good to me. You also show up right here, Leo, on the card. So you're kind of showing up in a strong position with the World. The World can be an accomplishment or an achievement. And again, I think that a lot of you, it's more saying you have an opportunity with the Ace of Pentacles to shine. And I would take advantage of that. With the Page of Wands, you have the Eight of Swords. Yeah, stuck. Like I said, some of you probably don't know what to do, like what you enjoy in life. And so it's definitely time to explore. I always get tons of people saying they don't know what makes them happy or what brings them fulfillment. And really, you just have to try things that you think you might enjoy. And you just have to try it, right? And if you try hobbies and interests or things you think you might be interested in, eventually you will find something, or maybe hopefully multiple things that can bring you more fulfillment. So I do feel this is saying it's time to release the trap of, obligations to other people, or, not putting yourself first. With the Ace of Pentacles, here you go. You have the Ten of Pentacles, which is amazing. Definitely a really solid opportunity coming in for you. The Ace of Pentacles is like everything you want and desire in your life. It is the tree of life. So a lot of you could be attracting a lot of abundance or success here. And that's what I would focus on. Again, you're a fixed sign, Uranus and Taurus. Uranus and Taurus wants you to build and leave a legacy. So even though Uranus will be leaving Taurus next year and, officially moving into Gemini to stay, it doesn't matter. Even when it leaves, you still have to implement that energy. So definitely time to build permanent success in your life. With the World, you have the Three of Pentacles again. So yes, literally showing your work to the world. And it's funny that it's coming up in a future position because, like I said, you might be keeping things to yourself for right now. But I do feel in the future you will be able to kind of, show things off more. Or, it's like you will be showing things off and not keeping them hidden in the near future. Next, in the area of the good stuff, you have this poverty card. It says financial loss, strain, down on your luck, scarcity mindset. Again, it's coming up in the good stuff. You have this official person. It says person in uniform, dominant, battle, official work, rules, regulations, obligations, and responsibilities. So I feel that you could be taking the lead. Even the chariot can say that you're taking the lead on something. Again, a lot of you could be coming out of the cold here with that poverty card. And how funny is it that there's a house on that card? And I've been talking about moving. Some of you could finally be like finding the resources necessary if you want to move or if you want to travel. So that's good. You have the Chariot, the Five of Wands, and the Nine of Swords. Again, probably your most important card here, the Chariot. It is a very good card, but we really have to take control with the Chariot. The easiest way to do this is to get into alignment. We have these stars up here, these moons right here. Represents as above, so below. All we have to do is match the energy of what we want, and then we will get it. We also have to be willing to set ourselves apart. He's leaving this city behind him behind. So, some of you might be like walking away from some sort of tribe or a group of people. It doesn't mean that you're cutting them out. It doesn't even have to mean that there's anything bad going on with those people, but you just might be leveling up, right? And it's like sometimes when we level up, not everyone can come with us. And so I kind of get that feeling for you here, Leo, where it's almost like you're, it's like you need to be the leader of your own tribe. You're a lion. You need to be the head lion here, not like a follower, not a sheep, right? So I feel a lot of you are kind of doing that. You have the Five of Wands. Five of Wands can be conflict or competition. Five of Wands says you should be studying the competition, especially in the good stuff. But also in the good stuff, the Five of Wands can say you are winning a competition or you are standing out above the competition. Obviously, again, this is going to take work. I think the easiest thing for you to do is to do your own thing, and to be unique in your approach. Like, let's say you're in business or in career. It's like maybe everybody does things the same. If you do things a little bit different, then you will probably stand out. And that's exactly what I would do with the Five of Wands. You have the Nine of Swords. Nine of Swords can be like a round, never-ending nightmare, but it's coming up in the good stuff. So a lot of you could be escaping or getting out of some sort of nightmare or a nightmare situation, something that's been repeating for too long. And, obviously that would be a good thing. I do feel it's time for you to change your story. And so a lot of you are, that's kind of more the feeling I get off the Nine of Swords. Like I said, it is coming up in the good stuff, which is good. Would say you're escaping the nightmare. But I feel just intuitively that you're doing this by changing your story. Here you go. With the Chariot, you have the Queen of Pentacles. I said resources on that poverty card. And, the Queen of Pentacles is resourceful. She is finding the resources necessary to be able to do something that she wants to do in her life. So a lot of you could be getting the resources necessary to be more successful or to, to be able to move or make some other type of move. Again, you don't have to move. You could just be trying to make big moves, and this could be the resources you need coming in. So I feel pretty good about that. With the Five of Wands, you have the Justice card. Some of you could be getting justice. Again, the Mercury retrograde in Scorpio, it can be very karmic or can have to do with karma. So that, I have seen a couple of people this month and also this week getting these cards that kind of would represent a karmic reward or a karmic breakthrough or, you kind of balancing out some sort of karmic situation. That doesn't have to be love. That could just be any lesson that you've been learning. And it's like you're getting the lesson, which is probably bringing you the reward. With the Nine of Swords, you have the Ace of Pentacles. Maybe you finally know what to do here, Leo. The Nine of Swords could say you've been stuck just not knowing like what steps to take or not knowing what to do in a situation. And we have the Ace of Pentacles twice. So it's like maybe you finally understand what steps to take. You have the Stork card. It says news of a birth or a new business opportunity. If you're, again, if you're not trying to get pregnant, I would definitely be careful. You also have the Queen of Pentacles as well. Queen of Pentacles is very fertile. So again, if you're not trying to get pregnant, I would be careful. But I also feel good because, Ace of Pentacles can be the birth of a new opportunity, and, that could be happening. You have this pail. It says time to get out of a situation. I feel like you are getting out of a situation with the Nine of Swords. It's coming up in the good stuff. So it's like you're setting yourself free from something that has probably been keeping you stuck for a long time. You have this goldfish. It says increase in material wealth or spiritual growth. Yeah, it's an amazing time for spiritual growth, so anything that you can do for that would be good. Again, your material wealth seems to be increasing as well with the Ten of Pentacles, so if you're doing anything to improve your financial situation or putting in extra work into a project, this could be a lot more, there could be a lot of success. Again, I think the trick for Leo is promotion. How you promote something, promoting something more, speaking about something more, speaking about it with confidence. Those are the things that are going to help you the most. You have this firecracker. It says excitement. I know I'm hearing Christmas, so whatever. I know this is a weekly reading, and people always say this is for the week of the 1st. Why are you talking about Christmas? I don't know. It popped into my head. So there you go. But what I would say is I feel like this is Christmas. There's like some sort of, even if you don't celebrate Christmas, it doesn't matter, right? Around the 25th, around the end of the month, there's some sort of gift coming in for you. I feel it's going to make you very excited and very happy. So it's a good thing, no matter what. You have this desk card. It says, pay attention to your work. Yes. That's all you should pay attention to. There are two things you should pay attention to: yourself, your heart, what your heart wants, and your work, right? And that's it. And I think, because it's like everything is coming from you, is what this reading is saying to me. So it really doesn't matter what you want, Leo. I think that if you work on yourself enough, eventually you're going to get those things because you're going to be an energetic match to the things that you want. So pretty simple, but I like it. So thank you for being here. Make sure to leave a comment, and definitely enjoy your week.